The Nacc podcast. Know the corruption. Know the truth.
Welcome to the Nacc podcast, Know the Corruption, Know the Truth. And today's episode we invited you to know about dismantling customs bribes, preventing conflicts of benefits, reducing discretion. I'm not sure if you've heard or had any information about the system for paying bribes and rewards to customs officials before. Some of you may know or some of you may be familiar with this information. I just want to say that today, the system for paying bribes and rewards to customs officials is reviewing the criteria, conditions, and necessity for paying bribes and rewards to customs officials, dismantling the share of rewards to be consistent with participation and position levels in order to prevent conflicts of benefits and discretion. Following up from 2012. The Nacc had proposed recommendations to prevent corruption regarding the payment of bribes and rewards by the Customs Department, Ministry of Finance, to the Cabinet, under Section 1911 of the Organic Act on the Prevention and Suppression of Corruption EP.10 542. The Cabinet acknowledged the resolution on 12 March 2013 and assigned the Ministry of Finance to consider revising the bribe and reward payment system and the work system of the Customs Department because it was found that the bribe and reward payment caused problems in many ways, such as the creation of distorted behavior from what should be done moral hazard, by focusing on only work with high rewards or compensation, or neglecting work with low rewards or compensation, or no rewards, as well as inequality and unfairness in the civil servant work system, where one group receives higher compensation for their work than other civil servants, even though they are performing their normal duties, including the risk of conflicts of benefits of those with the authority to determine who is entitled to receive the reward and determine the proportion of the reward by determining that they are entitled to receive the reward as the person who ordered the arrest, which is inconsistent with the objective of determining the reward, to promote effective law enforcement and reward the work of officials, with an emphasis on participation in the work as the main focus. However, with the modernity and connectivity of information technology today, it has resulted in greater flexibility and efficient data linkage. And when considering the creation of credibility, international standards in the performance of the Thai government in the international arena, therefore, raise questions about the necessity and appropriateness of providing rewards to reward the performance of government officials, as well as the feasibility of using the channels under the current government personnel compensation system, special compensation, to be appropriate for the performance of government officials instead of the reward payment system from fines received in order to encourage government officials to enforce the law more effectively and create more equality in the civil service system. The Nacc, in its 55/2000, 567 meeting on 28 May 2000, 567, resolved to approve the recommendations on the criteria and conditions for paying bribes and rewards to government officials in accordance with the Customs Department regulations on the payment of bribes and rewards. It also sent a letter to the Cabinet Secretary to provide recommendations on corruption prevention measures in this regard to the Cabinet on 2 July 2000, 567. The recommendations on the criteria and conditions for paying bribes and rewards to government officials in accordance with the Customs Department regulations on the payment of bribes and rewards have two important recommendations. 1. Recommendations on preventing rewards from being paid to persons who are not involved in the arrest of wrongdoers and the appropriateness of the reward-sharing ratio. 2. Recommendations on improving the Customs Department's work system as a supplementary measure to solve the problem of bribery and rewards and solve corruption problems. The aforementioned suggestions have gone through the study process and consideration of the Steering Committee on Proactive and Innovative Anti-Corruption Measures, which consists of experts from various fields who jointly provided their opinions, observations, and suggestions. They have also gone through the process of listening to relevant information from representatives of various agencies, including the Ministry of Finance, the Customs Department, the Comptroller General's Department, the Excise Department, the Office of the Narcotics Control Board, the Anti-Money Laundering Office, the Royal Thai Police, the Office of the Auditor General, experts, executives, and officers of the Nacc office, etc. Most recently, the Cabinet has acknowledged the Nacc's proposal to review the criteria, conditions, and necessity of paying bribes and rewards to customs officials, and to adjust the prize money sharing rate to be consistent with participation and position levels, prevent conflicts of benefits and discretion, assign the Ministry of Finance to join the ONCB and the Anti-Money Laundering Office to discuss and reach a conclusion within 30 days. On July 30, 2024 at Government House, Ms. Kanika Unjit, Deputy Government Spokesperson, revealed that the Cabinet meeting resolved to acknowledge the recommendations on the criteria and conditions for paying bribes and rewards to officials according to the Customs Department regulations on the payment of bribes and rewards under Section 32 of the Organic Act, on the prevention and suppression of corruption (EP.10 561) as proposed by the National Anti-Corruption Commission (Nacc), the recommendations on the criteria and conditions for paying bribes and rewards to officials according to the Customs Department regulations on the payment of bribes and rewards by the Customs Department include: assign the Ministry of Finance to study the necessity of providing rewards to compensate for performance of duties and the feasibility of use the current system of compensation for government officials to be appropriate for the nature of their duties instead of the reward system from fines received. Consider improving the reward-sharing ratio account to reflect participation and performance more than position level to prevent conflicts of benefits and reduce the use of discretion by department heads. Have the Customs Department create a central database on the payment of bribes and rewards in electronic form, systematically, and compile data linking to the origin of the list of wrongdoings, the list of assets leading to the payment of bribes and rewards. This is in accordance with Section 32 of the Organic Act on the Prevention and Suppression of Corruption (EP.10 561), which stipulates that the Nacc has the duty and authority to propose measures, opinions, and suggestions to the Cabinet. When the Cabinet is informed of the Nacc's measures, opinions, and suggestions, if it is a case that cannot be implemented, report any problems and obstacles to the Nacc within 90 days from the date of notification from the Nacc, which will expire on September 29, 2024. The Ministry of Finance and the Customs Department are assigned as the main agencies to consider this matter together with the Office of the Narcotics Control Board, the Anti-Money Laundering Office, the Royal Thai Police, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, and relevant agencies to reach a conclusion. The Ministry of Finance must summarize the results of the consideration of the overall operation and submit them to the Cabinet Secretariat within 30 days from the date of notification from the Cabinet Secretariat for further submission to the Cabinet. It can be seen that the Nacc sincerely hopes that the recommendations on the criteria and conditions for paying bribes and rewards to officials. In accordance with the Customs Department regulations on paying bribes and rewards, will be useful in improving the methods of civil service to achieve maximum efficiency, prevent the risk of corruption, and serve as a mechanism for checking, preventing, and suppressing the seeking of personal benefits, and leading to the development of more appropriate, modern, transparent, and fair civil service practices. Honest, fair, professional, transparent, and verifiable. Office of the National Anti-Corruption Commission.